So let's move on to the New York Knicks and Derrick Rose's super team, as he calls them. Justin, just the question is why? Why say this?
Why are we going to this segment after we're talking about so many relevant
we need comedic
issues and
comedic relief, Justin. You have to laugh. You have to laugh, please.
There's nothing funny about that.
I think it's funny. I think it's funny.
I cried when I heard it. Personally, I cried.
Oh, don't tell me you're a Knicks fan. Come on.
No, I just cried at the audacity of the
statement. The super team comment.
Into a fetal position, and I cried for about 3 hours. I woke up and I realized, yeah, he actually said that.
The best part about it is he 100% believes that.
Yeah.
Like, deep down in his mind, like, he's chilling in New York, talking to Joakim Noah, being like, you know what? Everyone's trying to build up their arsenal to take down this Knicks team. And I mean, what do you have to say? Like, they're a borderline playoff team. I'm still a big Carmelo Anthony fan, but when you look at what Derrick Rose has done when healthy, it's comparable to Jordan Clarkson last year on the Lakers. Like, his numbers were basically identical to Jordan Clarkson. We're talking about a borderline starter. Joakim Noah hasn't been able to stay on the floor, and when he's been on the floor, he hasn't been good recently. 2 years ago, when he was still healthy somewhat, the Bulls were better off with him on the bench when you look at net ratings compared to when he was on the floor. So when you really look at what the Bulls did, and I don't love the Bulls offseason, but having Robin Lopez and Rajon Rondo, Lopez I really like, Rondo I don't. I think those two, that tandem, those players, are better than Rose and Noah at this point. The Knicks would have been better off, in my opinion. It wouldn't be as flashy, but sticking with Robin Lopez, getting Rondo, which, I mean, I'd prefer other options, but I think they'd be better off doing something like that. I think they'd be a better basketball team and have a better shot at the playoffs. But if they want to put names on the back of the jerseys, get the hype of Derrick Rose, Noah, guys like that, and get the 9th or 10th seed, by all means, go for it. That's a very super team.
Darren, if I like to call him Horny, Jeff Hornacek. Are you going to be running? Are you going to be running the triangle? Are you going to be listening to Phil? Are you going to be reading the papers?
I don't know how long you're going to be doing it. I mean, everybody's talking. Derrick Rose. This is the first time the triangle's going to have a dynamic point guard like me, and Phil Jackson is going to encourage the triangle at the very least. and yeah, they're going to try. But the triangle isn't as foreign a topic as people, this big mystical system by which, a lot of teams employ various, sort of tweaks and edges to a triangle-like, setup. So it's not that hard to adapt. You just got to have some sort of an IQ, and they're going to roll it out. They're going to try. I just think there's too many ifs in New York. You never want to hear if to and that's the preface to describing 3 or 4 of your top players. If Noah can return to form, if Rose can stay, if, their backups, if Porzingis can advance. There's so many ifs on that team that the triangle and running what they're going to run is so far down the list of getting these guys just playing basketball again, like basketball. And we saw a lot more Rose last year than we've seen in a long time. We see that Noah seems like he might be energized. Obviously, Carmelo Anthony is waiting. But in the Knicks, when you have Melo, you're not a slow build team. You're trying to jump right to the championships. Melo has watched LeBron do it. He's watched Wade do it. He doesn't want to build. They want to jump. And the kind of jump that they're banking on Rose and Noah and these guys to do, hard task, man, hard call.
Justin, I'm going to leave the last question today for you. Why do you think it's Carmelo Anthony leading this social activist movement in basketball? You know what?
I think right now it's because, and this is going to sound bad, but he did have a lot of free time this summer while a lot of his peers were still going on in the playoffs. Chris Paul had injuries to deal with and stuff like that. But the whole kind of banana boat friends there, they're all very socially conscious. You heard at the ESPYs, Chris Paul, his uncle, I believe, is a police officer as well. So has a connection there. LeBron James has always been outspoken. Melo is an outspoken person. He is somebody that really does a lot of networking, and that's part of his draw to New York, is he has the ability to go to all these functions, to be a socially conscious athlete. And I know Carmelo does get a rough kind of go when it comes to people talking about his place in the league, but overall he's had a great career, and he's been somebody that's kind of stepped up with these type of issues. He's made statements when statements need to be made, and when you look at the lack of success he's had relative to some of his peers, maybe he does feel kind of an obligation that I'm not finding that success on the court. I need to make my mark somewhere else. And you hear those four guys, you hear Kobe Bryant, all these guys say, if the biggest mark that I leave is based off me as a player, then I failed. Kobe Bryant, I know he's talked about feeling like he's going to make an impact outside of off the court. And I think those guys are of the same mind. They're very socially conscious guys, and they want to make that mark. So I think Carmelo Anthony is just getting a bit of a start on that, an early start, and he's going out of his way to get in front of a lot of these issues and be the face of a lot of the movement here to try to make a difference, because what's going on right now is unacceptable.
To see another side of Carmelo Anthony, I highly recommend a Vice sports series called Stay Melo. There's several videos on Vice's YouTube channel, one where he goes to a prison, one where he goes back to Baltimore, to the neighborhood he grew up in, one that talks about the march he marched in Baltimore last year. He's been socially active for a long time. It's very much ingrained in who he is. He likes to give back to his community. And he knows that he has an opportunity now to be part of something important. As we've all mentioned here, we're in a very important time in society, and athletes are starting to step up. And I think with the death of Muhammad Ali, as mentioned earlier, that's been a catalyst for this. They're seeing what he did then and what they can do now. It's a very important time in history. Darren, I wanted to thank you very much to be on the show. Twitter handle, Hoop Dogs, Justin, Rowan, Cavs Canada, me, Montreal, Marc Griffin. You can join us anytime. We run the show usually Saturday mornings, 11 a.m. Eastern, hoopslounge.com, and Facebook, hoopslounge.com. See you next time.